Everyone's talking about sharper images, but how sharp is sharp enough? And how do you actually create it? There's a lot of videos on the internet talking about sweet spots of lenses and shutter speeds and all that in terms of creating sharp images, but they're missing some key and far more important details. So let's look at what makes a sharp image, or what you believe to be a sharp image, and then let's go through the hierarchy checklist that we go through to create that. Because my images, they're all about maximum detail and sharpness and huge high resolution images. And I've purposefully used that phrase because there's 3 terms in there that I'm pretty sure you're misunderstanding in this context. We've got sharpness, resolution, and detail. Now these 3 things all matter for what we call, now sharpness really is just that contrast between black and white. It's the contrast between there and not there. That's sharpness. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's sharpness and acutance. And having sharpness doesn't necessarily mean you've got a detailed image. It just means the difference between A and B, black and white, is contrasting. Sharpness is created by a lens. You can do sharpening in post as well, but in the analog sense, it's created with a lens. So your lens is in charge of your sharpness. But a sharp, blurry image or a sharp, undetailed image doesn't seem like a sharp image. Sharpness is a word we just band around for being able to see lots of detail and texture and everything. It's all these different bits. Now that high resolution part, the resolution is controlled by your camera. Let me wheel it in. This is a sharp image making machine. I've got my lens here, which is an Acton 90mm. This has great micro contrast and acutance. It's a very sharp lens, brilliant contrast. The contrast of the lens is what matters with sharpness. It's that black to white differentiation. This does it very well. Back here I've got a sensor which is very high resolution. It's 100 megapixels. That means we can resolve a lot of detail which has the sharpness applied to it. But where's this detail coming from? Where is my detail? We can't have what we all perceive to be a sharp image without the detail. Now the detail comes from 2 places. The first place the detail comes from is the scene. In this scene here, this has a lot of detail in it because my beard has a lot of texture. Detail is what's in the scene. If I was a sheet of paper, I wouldn't be particularly detailed. But with a beard, I have some detail there. There's some detail to capture. The resolution of the camera says, well, let's show it. Let's really give you lots of information of this detail. And the sharpness of the lens goes, let's make it clear where the detail starts and stops between different light and dark areas. That's what that does. But there's more to it, and there is a more important part to it. I'm currently wanting to be not too detailed because age. So I've got some scattered light coming in here. The light source and direction of light and number of light sources has a huge impact on detail. So up here, I have my parabolic. This has the option to produce collimated light. Collimated light is extremely detailed. Shooting that onto this will create a very detailed image, which we can have at high resolution with great contrast and acutance. I say acutance, it might not be the right pronunciation, I don't know. I've always said that, it comes back from the Rosen old days of developing film in a high acutance developer. Could be acutate, I don't know. Anyway, we've probably got a lot of mispronounced words here. I only ever read these things, I never heard them. But there we have it, there is the ultimate light source in photography. The next best thing is this person here, just beneath it, that is a reflector. That will produce, given a good distance, a hard, specular light source, which creates great detail. And then the worst thing we can use for detail, got space there, there we go. Here, hazy light, softbox. The softbox will scatter the light and therefore give you low detail. Haze is also an absolute killer of detail. Haze is awful. When we shoot the podcast, you might notice we put lights behind us. It creates haze, which removes detail, especially around here, the crow feet area, and anywhere else on my face I'm trying to mask. Having that light source, a collimated or specular light source, coming in from one direction only, creates contrast and detail. It creates additional contrast for the lens to have a good fighting point. If the light's scattered, the lens has really got to fight to create contrast. If the contrast is already there in capture, this bad boy is going to have a great time. Then we've got all the resolution capturing it, and we've got all the detail in the scene and all the detail in the light, and that makes for a horrifically detailed image. Now, when is it detailed enough and sharp? It's actually detail we're talking about here, but when is it sharp enough? When is it enough? I believe this. It is sharp enough when you can see all the detail clearly that you want to see. At the point that banding starts occurring, that means you've gone into post and added extra sharpening. That's no good. So you want to create this sharpening here. Now my work, we don't sharpen it in post. I believe that post-production sharpening looks pretty horrific. We sharpen it in lens. Now the reason we have a camera like this for our still life work is there is a sweet spot on a lens. This is around f11 on this lens, but f11 doesn't get me enough depth of field. Focus stacking is a great way to use a sweet spot and get everything in focus, but we often have moving elements in our still life sets, which sounds like an oxymoron. Hey Ted. So this here allows us to do some cool stuff with focus and get it all in one shot at the sweet spot with the collimated light, with the high detailed scene, on the high contrast lens with a high resolution sensor. So sharp enough is when you can see everything you wanted to capture. In this instance, this is sharp enough, but for one of my still life works, this would not cut the mustard because that's not what we're about. I hope this has helped explain the sharpness detail debacle. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.